Hey guys, Boris here, bringing you another VOD review. Today I'll be jumping in game with Kiyoon, playing on Project PB, and we are playing on the Teemo encounter with the possibility to fish for perfect augments, therefore we could be in store for a very exciting and high-capped game. We already checked the Aeonia as it's custom, we see that it's prosperous, definitely something we consider playing around. We do get a Draven and a Nautilus orb drop. Something that we could pair in now. We have this alloy. This would allow us to immediately unlock Graves and consider potentially playing around the Bilgewater opener, since Graves only now requires 2 items on any Bilgewater unit. We also see that we have Spikes and an Iron Carapace. Could be considering Void as a potential as well, particularly the AD Void, but we do get a Rod here, and now we find also a TF naturally. We have the Bilgewater. Check our Bilgewater shop. We have an alloy pair and nothing else other too exciting. Could be considering holding on to this Rek'Sai as a potential to maybe play into some form of a Slayer's line. But other than that, we have some form of direction. Could also want to perhaps streak around this Draven, but we do not have any bow items for that, and Deadlier Blaze would not resolve that. 9 lives would be more into combat, and Hedge Fund would require us to play full open, which is not a preferred playstyle of many top tier players, and particularly there is not a line that can exactly win out. At least it has not yet really been identified other than the very fast 9 AP line, but for that you would want to be playing from a stronger start. Prismatic Ticket would be a great reroll option if you wanted to see another perhaps Bard game or something. Living Forge, little delayed on its with the buffs, still a little delayed perhaps, but it's great in comps that can use quite a few artifacts, something like a Slayers perhaps. And Comeback Story again would be playing more into a melee potential. I believe now the Slayers also being the more default line since the Warwick has fallen out of meta, but at the point we do not have exactly a strong board. We would probably be fishing for some form of an econ augment, hence why we're holding on to this 9 lives. Now, Fortune Strength is another interesting option that we have not found. Now, I would assume that he's most likely here digging constantly to find an econ augment in this current meta where Fast 9 is so prominent. Definitely finding a Prismatic econ augment is something that could definitely enable you to do so, even though you wouldn't be playing from ahead. But we keep getting offered these loose streak options, and Band of Thieves would be something if we were able to fully capitalize on the tempo. But we do not have a carry that could utilize this Band of Thieves right now, therefore we assume we have to be defaulting here for the strength, Fortune Strength, just to be able to play for our loose streak option, as we had to pass up on others. So yeah, most likely not the outcome we were exactly looking for, since we did not find the econ augment, but going to have to be try to salvage a game. Now in the meta right now, as I mentioned, Fast 9 is the prominent way. However, the other option, which few believe now, is to be either Fast 9 or 3-cost reroll. Therefore, we perhaps could be seeing something like a Draven line. We are holding on to this Draven now, and if we do hold on to it here, it could be a thing we consider. Also, we are going to be needing to spike quite hard on stage 4 to be capturing the rounds from the stage 4 sackers. Trying to play for Fast 9, we see there's another Yordle worth a way to stun a player. Now, could be that they're probably using Yordles to try to find their way to level 9 and then capitalizing the Yordle Fast 9 is on the meta as well. Holding here wide open, which is a nice thing to note. Sometimes players in these kind of spots would be just giving in, selling their boards to make the econ threshold, but holding wide here quite often is going to be able to play into many other outs. And now I believe that we could be selling off this Kog'Maw perhaps at this point. Also holding on to the Shen pair because we haven't upgraded the Lawi from our Bilgewater shop. But we do really want to be making 10 here, otherwise we're just going to be too poor. And now that we have managed to string together a couple of board and also have managed to snatch a couple of rounds, we could be considering playing into a form of a Bilgewater line. Mapping out some form of a Noxus Bilgewater board. Interesting to see what he's trying to cook up. Perhaps trying to go for a more of a standard Slayer board right there. Going to be picking up that Nautilus from a shop, from the carousel, giving us a cloak, which would fit more into the Slayer plan if we're going to be going for that. But we do not have any gloves that we could utilize. Now, since we held on to the option to have more outs to be playing around, we are not going to be leveling aggressively here. Also have noted that the lobby is quite strong. We see here we have upgraded the front line with Aphelios 2 in a black line from Horo X. Therefore, hopefully we can close the stage here on a 2 loss, trying to make a little bit of that econ and getting a little bit closer to that forged in strength. Now with the forged in strength, we have to find a comp that can utilize many artifacts, generally speaking, which would requiring us to have also an AP item holder, but I do not exactly see in the tower plan. But is this... No, this is what is being mapped out. Is the Draven, Nautilus, and Gangplank reroll, I believe. Haven't seen that one in a while. We know that China has liked to playing it for quite some time, but has never really seen much success in the West. Therefore, perhaps since people are so hot on the 3-cost reroll, this could be a potential to be testing it out. As we know, players are here trying to gather as much as information and potential line understanding as they can for the coming up regional tournaments. With the items we're given here, we either have to go for a Declaw and a Sunfire Slam, but we would also want to be holding sorting our anti-heal out, so we could also go for something like an Even Shroud and a Bramble Vest if we see that lobby is quite AD heavy. But the Fast 9 seems to be more leaning towards the AP lines. However, we really do want to get that anti-heal sorted and shred sorted, and otherwise we would be requiring a bow and a glove, and we would want our first bow if you're playing Draven to definitely be Rageblade and then into something like a Kraken with the other open cloak. Now, since we are going to be playing a reroll comp, we definitely do want to be having an item, the econ augment right here, so perhaps it's going to be another big dig for an econ augment. Otherwise, we're going to have to try to settle for a component. Our econ is quite low, so that's going to be our top prio. Therefore, none of these augments seem to be too appealing right now. Hold the line would be more again into heavy meal frontline comps like Slayers. Indecision perhaps is the best option we're looking for, but we could be ripping Prismatic Destiny, and we do rip Prismatic Destiny because there are other eco options perhaps he could consider, and we do get a Tiniest Titan, which is exactly what we were looking for. This is one of the harder spots where you just simply miss on all the econ options, and because we can see there's players, some are running double econ augments, definitely going for that Fast 9, expecting us a Tiniest Titan on the opposite side. So going to go for that Even Shroud Slam, covering the Bramble West, but do not need a Slam as we see that we're going to win. Now, this is another tricky bit in that we have not really gotten the offensive components dropped for ourselves. This is something that can be quite tricky if you're committing to a line that requires quite specific items, such as Draven, requiring that Gunsu, requiring some other form of attack speed, and loving those bow items. We would be wanting a carousel prio, but though perhaps the saving grace is that bows are not as contested at the moment. But we are mixed streaking here. Hopefully the Tiniest Titan is going to enable us to be able to cruise our way through the stage 4 with some upgrades and snatch some wins from the Fast 9 players. Sacking, able to pick up a Gangplank with a bow, which is going to most likely be transitioning immediately into a Ginsu and getting the Gangplank in. We're also holding on to this Graves and interested to see if we're going to be considering playing 5 Bilgewater at some point. This would generally make our board a little weaker, and it seems like we're playing around the idea, but we do want those Serpents, and we do find a dupe and we find a Gangplank in our shop, but I'm not sure. I thought that the 3-cost odds were a little bit better on 3 Bilgewater, since you cannot get those items, but perhaps you're also considering making an item. Get that Nautilus 2 here, but going to position in a way to be losing a round, because we do want to be proccing that Forge in Strength quite soon and capitalizing on the spike it's going to provide us as soon as we can. Just have to be wary not to drop too low, as we know there's a potential for a Giga board to come online, and hopefully we're able to heal up by then. So we'll recognize that we do want to be sacking our HP right away, and then when we are able to spike, we're able to heal up, and the faster we get to our spike, the faster we're going to do it. Able to cash it out here. We do get RFC and a Gold Collector, which are going to be great items for the Graves, and perhaps Gangplank could actually use the RFC quite well with an innate synergy of the Vanquisher, and simply the Aegis for a general tank item. Also to get the Darius unlocked, but we picked it up, but not sure if we're going to be playing around that. Do find a Swain, do find an Ambessa, which is quite good for us. Definitely want to be getting to those units before others. And most likely not going to be able to 2-star them on level 7, but we do need to get these items down. It's a little bit complicated of a turn. Going to slam that Gold Collector for now on the Draven. Also sorting out anti-heal. So we committed our road to an anti-heal and believing that this RFC is going to be sufficient amounts of attack speed for us. Also nicely completes our items, very well recognized now. Again, we are still in the spot that we could use more items, potentially. However, we could also use quite a bit of econ. We are still quite far away, and the 3-cost reroll comps are some of the most expensive. And if you're looking to 3-star 3 of them, it's going to be very expensive for ourselves. Component high is going to be delayed. Sword overflow wouldn't be too hot on it right now, since we already have the damage items sorted for ourselves. We'd have to be looking to get a 4th kind of carry online. Could be Ambessa if we opted to go for that, but slamming a DB here, I'm perhaps not too excited. Soul Awakening could be something that we consider. If we do consider ourselves to be strong enough at this point, Soul Awakening could definitely empower our 3-cost reroll even further. Component high is too low, and Celestial Blessing would be playing more into melee comp, while Dragon Guards will be looking to be playing either Fast 9 or Demacia board. Generally Demacia, since you have to hold on to this Jarvan. So Soul Awakening is going to be that. Definitely one of the prime combat augments throughout the whole set. Find a Shyvana, but I'm not sure how we're going to be slotting that in our board. Now we have the 2 dupes, but we see that we have a Gangplank in our shop. Also picking up a Captain's Brew to toss onto a TF, getting a little bit more of that utility on our board, all across the board. But we are level 730 here, so this is not exactly the prime spot that we wanted to be. We're also going for a TF3, which I just noticed. So we are trying to find a way to maximally cap this board. Now, found this Fiddlesticks, and found a Fiddlesticks pair actually, which is quite high, but that would be definitely an in we would want for a level 8, but we have this Draven in our shop and might have to give up on that if we are definitely bound onto holding onto this Gangplank. Now, do we get enough to be able to buy the Gangplank from our shop? No, so we're going to be locking instead, because we do get that Bilgewater currency coming in. I'm going to be able to buy the Gangplank from our shop and free up a shop slot. And then probably not hold on to... Or perhaps we can dupe something. We could dupe the Nautilus to offer another shop slot for ourselves, but that would be quite expensive for ourselves. Find a TF as well, so going to give up on one of them. Going to give a fully on the Fiddlesticks, able to find Lucian set, going to roll out deeply and find our 3 stars. Still to... Okay, so we have the pretty much almost a Gangplank 3 in our bags. Simply need to farm those resources, so we're in a prime spot to be able to push to level 8 here. A little bit higher on our shops, I would say, since we were in a quite rough spot on 4-1, but we have played around Spike, have managed to save a little bit of an HP, and now should still have a couple of rounds at least before these Fast 9 boards fully come online. And hopefully we have enough meat in our board, we have the combat augment that enables us to be competitive against them even with, and we have a very strong also item augment, and our artifacts have worked out quite nicely even without a Reforger. So now it's probably going to be all about trying to position this Nautilus in front of the prime threats and having that Draven be able to stack up some of the easier kills to be able to reach the backlines without having to move, having that higher uptime, having that extra having higher uptime increases your DPS, right? So now we were looking for probably which way we could complete our items. We do not want to show you. We can make a void staff here, and then since we have the BT, we're going to settle for a GS, but would invite ideally for it to be something like a Sterex gauge, but we have 4 itemized units and a Shyvana with a free item on our board as well. Also have a Shyvana pair that we've managed to find on level 8. And are we aggressive? Oh, so we're fishing for... I would assume we were fishing for this Fiddlesticks or a single Gangplank just so we can get it rolling a turn faster. We should also be closing in on a Thomas Kench, I believe, if you did not already, since the unlock got also eased. But that would not affect our board exactly. We would probably be looking now to make our way to... Yeah, so here we have the Thomas Kench coming in, but I'm not exactly sure what else we're looking for. The shop just simply buying stats obviously is a way, buying some HP, and then attack speed would be the prime positions that prime stats that we're looking for. AD and AP whenever we are just low. We have to buy something that's cheaper. Up against a fast 9 rise board with a double E, perhaps even a triple econ augment, did not check what their call to chaos was. Able to take them down, so this board is definitely quite competitive. The hardest part always is going to be about it, getting online on pace and having all these items. And it's a triple prismatic lobby, so the combat power is going to be all around the lobby. We have been a little bit lucky with our 5 costs, but still have not sitting on a single star on Bessa, as the Melflex is a prominent line to be playing around. And Bessa is going to be a quite hard unit to 2-star on your boards. Now with a little bit of healing, and if you're able to pick up a win here, able to get the last second swap onto the Slayers player, we see there's a Baron too, which is going to be quite scary for us. Nicely able to pick up a win against the Jonas Slayers with a bronze for life on their side. Again, another call to chaos players. We can see these players all are loving the econ augments all across the board. Definitely one of the little bit of concerns on the next patch. Hence why this playstyle of Fast 9 or Reroll 7, Reroll 7 has adapted. And definitely we can see that the Reroll lines have a potential to also close out on high placements if you're able to hit on curve. However, here we fight, there seems to be 10 Ionia, alright, so we are up against a 10 Ionia board there. Definitely not going to be able to win out of first. These prismatic lobbies tend to get very crazy. But at this point we're just going to be making our way to level 9 and probably slotting in the Fiddlesticks. Not much else that we could be looking out for. Find a third item for Shyvana here most likely, or something that we could improve our Graves item situation, although GS should be quite fine for him. Finally able to find a Tembessa too, but cannot afford it. We're going to sell the 1-star of Shyvana. We do want to secure the wins right now, right? Because we know that we are not going to be winning against the 10 Ionia player. We definitely want to be making sure that we win rounds now. These are the important rounds. And this is a Silas too from a Fast 9 player. Barely surviving on a single HP. We know that the Silas unit is extremely nutty. Able to get the Swain back to complete 4 Juggernaut for us, and yeah, so we have 10 Ionia in our pool, and we do have the Silas player. Now this is a ghost board, so does 10 Ionia proc for them? I would assume it does, or it appears not. So this is interesting to note. Unless they did not have an emblem slam down or something, we are able to pick up a win here and scam a second place. Now, otherwise I would say this is a great showing of the game where you burn the 3-cost reroll when you are forced to be playing into it from a weaker opener. But you're still able to find the econ augment. You are able to secure good placements, and I'm not going to capitalize on the win here since it's triple prismatic 10 Ionia, but definitely a prominent strategy to be playing around. Fully enabled by Kiyoon spot recognition. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.